Last week I received a handwritten letter, and that's pretty unusual in the modern age. But even stranger is I don't know the person who wrote it. I've got it here. Dear neighbour, as we're living in unusual times due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are unable to call on our neighbours in the usual way. This has been sent by the local Jehovah's Witnesses. I have to say, I find that quite invasive, writing to strangers because you're hoping to recruit them into your religion or cult, because Mrs. Disgruntled is an Irish Catholic. But you won't find me shoving burning incense through people's letterboxes or walking up and down the street in a Beretta. The bishop's hat, not a gun. And we all know the way they usually operate. It's a Sunday afternoon, you've just spent 3 hours cooking a meal and you're about to sit down with your nearest and dearest. Then there's a knock at the door, and before you've got it halfway open, someone has rammed a copy of the Watchtower into your face, and they're asking if they can interest you in the word of the Bible. And it's not even a normal Bible. I've even had them call at my house on Christmas Day. So I've been stood there on the threshold, with the Christmas lights clearly visible in the window, the tree glowing away, and carols on the stereo, thinking which part of this picture makes it look like I want to be indoctrinated today. But I've got nothing against people being religious, except for when that religion is skewed and demands that its followers detonate themselves in crowded areas, oppress women and cut the heads off homosexual men. Because at times like that, I'd hope the Almighty would manifest and re-emphasise his no-killing rule. But you'll always know if you're meeting a Jehovah's Witness, because their faith is the second thing that comes out of their mouth. Something like, "Hi, my name's Dave, and I'm a Jehovah's Witness." Basically, they're the vegans of the religious community. And I've got nothing against vegans, I've got good friends of mine who are vegan, but we all know the type. You could be at a funeral, a mass funeral. A disaster has occurred, a lorry's gone out of control and ploughed into a bus stop, killing 50 school kids. And at the service, the vicar will be there, trying to fight back his own tears, and will say, "Does anyone have anything to say?" And at the back, someone will chirp up, "Yeah, my name's Colin and I've been vegan for 3 months. Over the years, I've found the most effective way to get rid of Jehovah's Witnesses is to make them feel uncomfortable. So here's a couple of examples. Many years ago, I was at a mate's house and we noticed hordes of them coming down the street because they always arrive en masse, like a load of Dakotas have flown over and parachuted them in. So my mate said to me, "Dan, go and answer the door. When I come back, don't act surprised." So I did that, and after a few seconds I noticed the lady with the Bible was looking past my shoulder with an expression of increasing horror. And then my mate stood beside me and said, "Who is it, darling?" And I turned to look at him and he was dressed in his wife's underwear. They couldn't get away quick enough. And more recently, I was at home and saw a couple of them coming up the driveway. So I opened the laptop and went onto a porn site. Then I turned the volume up so everyone could hear what was going on. And when I opened the door, I had my trousers undone and a box of tissues in my hand. And I said, "You're welcome to come and wait in the hallway, I'm just in the middle of something." They didn't stop. So what do these people actually believe? Now, I'm not a theologian, but they believe that Jesus was the Son of God, but they're not that into him. Essentially, they're Christians who don't make a big deal out of Christ. That's why they don't celebrate Easter or Christmas, nor do they mark public holidays or birthdays. They don't engage in politics or join the armed forces. Then add to that they follow a version of the Bible which no other denomination acknowledges or uses. So they're a religious splinter group living apart from the rest of society, using a version of their holy text which has been reworked to suit their needs, and they try to recruit others. Essentially, they're an extremely placid version of ISIS. The religious order began in the USA, and that's a great country that's achieved many wonderful things, but if I were looking for calm, subtle, spiritual guidance, I'd be unlikely to call the Americans. Lovely people, yet somewhat over-enthusiastic. But the biggest reason why I won't be joining the door knockers is their opinion on music, because Jehovah's Witnesses don't listen to anything which is aggressive, that has explicit, sexually suggestive, or lyrics which could be construed as satanic or connected to the occult. Now, I'm a metalhead, so that'll wipe out most of my record collection. What follows? So here are some short audio clips to be used for the purposes of illustration, and in no way am I trying to infringe on copyright. But none of those songs are actually satanic. Even Number of the Beast is a song about a nightmare. But many religious people are narrow-minded and bigoted and assume that us rockers spend every full moon dancing around a fire, sacrificing virgins and rocking out with the ghost of Hitler. And it's not only England where these handwritten letters are appearing. A mate of mine had exactly the same thing in Sweden, only in Swedish. So I've got the leaflet that came with the letter and I haven't read it yet. I thought we could go through it together. What is the key to a happy family life? Do you think it is love, money, or something else? I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think they'll mention something to do with God. No, cocaine and dogging. No, it is about God. And if you're watching this and you are a Jehovah's Witness, I hope I haven't upset you or been too harsh, because I've got nothing against people wanting to share their religious beliefs. If I'm in town and I see someone preaching, I'll stop and listen to them so I can hear their opinion, provided it's not based on hatred or division. But putting letters through people's letterboxes in the middle of a pandemic is creepy, invasive and rude. Having a religious belief is a lot like having a penis. I don't mind knowing you've got one, but don't force it down my throat. Thanks for watching. Before I go, so there's no heavy metal, there's no TV or films with gratuitous nudity or violence, alcohol in moderation, no premarital sex, and they spend every weekend getting doors slammed in their faces in the pissing rain. Why are these people worried about going to hell? They already live there.